Shamane, what motivated you to found Easy Dwell with Raphael, and what got you guys to build that combined belief in the mission together?
So I think founding Easy Dwell was uh, part of a long, just passionate journey of mine to be able to create something of value that actually helps people um, in the real world, and it's tangible. Um, I always struggled with. I was very like compassionate, or I was very highly sensitive to people's emotions and their feelings, and all like the hurt and stuff that I've seen and I've experienced in my own life, and through different housing crises or different situations, just to be able to give back and provide something of value and to be able to make money doing it while providing a better alternative was always kind of a vision or something that I wanted to do. So that was there in terms of combining that, with Raphael's vision. I think that was just a little bit just luck and happenstance and focus. I mean, at the time when I started building Easy Dwell, which was 3 years ago, it wasn't Easy Dwell. It wasn't what it was today. I was just trying to wholesale and, figure out how to make some money and get into real estate and, quit my job and start doing things. I had kids on the way, or I had a kid on the way at the time. And yeah, I was just trying to get my start. But it turned out, about 4 months into my journey, I met Raphael, and he had already been down the entrepreneurial journey for about 15 years or so. So we partnered up, and that kickstarted a lot of things off to where we're able to get in front of people and start selling, what it is we do and who we are. And just on the vision element of that, I think Raphael, one of his visions was just to, create a platform where his friends could achieve their wildest dreams. And to me, it's like, make the world a better place, create a platform where people can be healed and, have the life that they desire and have peace and prosperity. I think those two things, aligned. And then in Easy Dwell, when it turned out, we could help an investor make money by, securing their investment and de-risking it in the way that we do, the way that we structured it. And then on the other side, to help a buyer, who's someone where I was in that, me and my parents were in that situation when I was younger, to then now help them through that problem, and then for everyone to win through that. Um, Honestly, just kind of happened like magic. I mean, one day I was trying to wholesale a property, and then was making so many calls, and I'd made all these presentations of how you could run this deal, and you could do this strategy. And one of those calls, someone's just like, I want to do this with you, and let's do it. So we did it, and then it just grew from there.
From your perspective, what makes the home buying process at Easy Dwell different from, let's say, the traditional home buying experience?
Well, I'd say the home buying process is very, very different. Primarily because you're dealing with us. I mean, I think that's the main thing. It's very hands-on. It's very personal. It's very tailored. Um, I think it's just um, very real and raw experience that even as we grow and as we scale and we have to add more layers of complexity and corporatization and these types of things, that we can keep the ecosystem going of just, hey, we're here to help you. Like, do you have a problem? Can you not make your payment? Like, are you going to have to leave like in 90 days? Well, we don't have to foreclose on you. No problem. You let us know. Like, we'll find someone else. Like, we can do things like that and work with people where they're at. So I think that's probably the key difference you'll find.
What type of families benefit the most from the Easy Dwell model?
The type of families that benefit the most is going to be people that have cash, but they don't have the credit or locations to get a traditional mortgage. So 1099 contractors, could be truckers. We have nurses. We have ex-military, active military. We have pet shop owners, restaurant owners, anyone that's doing business that the banks don't like, or that the traditional lending practices don't easily access into. Um, that's going to be who it's for.
How do you help homeowners understand the shared equity model in a simple way?
Yeah, I think very, very simply, it's like you can compare it to like a stock or a company. So, I mean, you are buying a company quite literally. You're buying a company that owns a property. You're not buying a property, buying a company that owns a property. So I think that level, just being able to understand that hierarchy, I think that's easy for people to understand. And then I think, if it's like, well, if I sold you all of Tesla and I couldn't do any fancy schmancy financial stuff where I'm diluting shares and creating more pools and doing this to affect you, pretend all that's out of the equation. I've sold you 100% of Tesla and you're going to buy it from me over the next 30 years. And that's how it works just with a house and where the company owns that house. So you're buying Easy Dwell one that owns 123 Main Street, and you're going to own 100% of that.
What are some of the most common questions that you get from prospects when they first learn about Easy Dwell?
One of the most common questions that we get asked is I think trust, like, is this real? Does this really work? Honestly, is going to be the biggest thing. Because there's so many scams, especially on Facebook, especially in Florida, that are out there. And even products that are not scams, things like rent to own lease options, those have bad names, just because people often fail in them. And so that is the question we're asked most: just how does this work? Is this real? And then it's a lot of trust building from there, which is, I mean, this is something that's helpful in that, the more we can get out there and like spread the message and spread the word, the more places people have to be able to see things and visualize and like understand what it is they're working with. That helps. So that's going to be the most, yeah, that's what people ask the most.
How does Easy Dwell work to create transparency throughout the process of buying these companies that own the homes?
Yeah, well, we work with everyone where they're at, but we keep it I mean, we keep everything organized. So, in terms of transparency, when you're buying the house, we've already got a title search done. We already have title insurance because we bought the property. So, you can see the title insurance. You can see if there's any liens or mortgages or debt on the house. You have full visibility there. You also have, I mean, just like anyone buying a house, you can do your due diligence. We're not holding you up at gunpoint saying, hey, sign the contract. It's like, check out the house, walk the house. We have an inspection report you can look at, but get your own inspector, do your own due diligence, figure it all out. Even when you want to sign, it's like, take this to your attorney, right? Like, make sure that you're clear. Like, here's the disclosures, here's everything we've said. Is it in the contract? Can you point to it? You just want that type of clarity with people.
What what role does education play in helping prospects make informed decisions?
I think in this case especially, it's really, really big. It's huge because everyone knows that corporations and business owners and investors, like uh if you're the average American, right? Like, you're not caught up in all this bullshit. Excuse my language. You're not caught up in all this stuff that um people are putting out there, but you just see this tug of war. It's like, oh, tax the billionaire, tax the wealthy. Like, we hate the landlords, we love the landlords, we are the landlords, we're not the landlords. Like, it's all, there's kind of this tug of war just back and forth, and people like to fight with each other. But I think, like, in terms of education, it's important to understand that we're all here on like the same playing field. We all have the ability to like connect with each other and get access to the same tools and resources if we try and we figure it out. So just making like the LLC and the company and these types of strategies and structures for like limited liability, for protection, and the investor mindset, is huge, because especially when you want people to be like not only invested for the long term, building their equity and paying you monthly and paying you on time and like doing all the things they need to do to get ahead. You just want, I mean, you want a well educated customer base because those people are going to become investors down the road as well.
Can you walk us through a typical first conversation with a prospective client at Easy Dwell?
Well, I can, yes, but you should get Dustin. And Dustin is our broker who's like on the phones with buyers all day, every day. That's all he does is talk with them. So um, he would be able to really dive in. But for me, when I work with buyers, it's very, very typical. It's just usually the conversation starts out, are you qualified for a mortgage, right? Like, what is your situation, right? Can you get a bank loan? What is your credit? What's kind of your situation? You want to get to know the person and figure out where they're at so you can meet them where they're at to figure out if it's even a good solution for them in the first place. So I think the conversation is very typical to a standard, if you were any kind of realtor or broker or doing any kind of relationship based sale, it's going to be the same type of conversation, just figuring out where the market hasn't been able to meet their demand and if we're able to meet that or not.
From your perspective, what have you found to be the biggest obstacles for consumers when they're trying to become homeowners today?
Yeah. I want to go back to education. I do think education is the biggest obstacle. I think education and trust.
How has consumer demand for alternative homeownership solutions changed over the past few years?
Well, I don't know if all the data points are accurate or who's reporting necessarily what data to whom. But I do know that I've seen figures that a couple years ago the non-QM market was expected to grow, you know, uh, substantially, in the multi-billions, maybe 30, 40 billion. But then last I saw another report that said the non-QM market has grown 50% in the last year. So the fact checkers can double check me on those numbers, but it is clear to me when I have conversations, even with my banker, that the amount of people able to qualify for mortgages and the general, even within the banking industry, the sentiment that we might be going to private money here soon, um, and moving away from these traditional practices or starting to open up seems to be apparent in just the conversations I have and the people I meet and just the general flow of things. But that's my feeling on it.
What do you think the future of home ownership looks like for younger generations?
So the future of home ownership, I think, looks a lot like co-ownership. So I think vision it looks like after partnering with the fund, partnering to help your real estate and buy that. I just think the amount of regulations that the banking industry has been put under is very restrictive to the banking industry in itself. But it got there, just compiled upon, a series of events that's led the average person to generally have a mistrust of the bank and the banking system. And I think you see that with where people are putting their dollars, and you see them moving into alternative funds or crypto, or other way. They're looking for other ways to store and multiply their money outside of their local bank that'll give them, a couple percent or whatnot. So I think the future of home ownership looks a lot like an ecosystem. We want to be there to support, to have the capital and the resources to, purchase these properties, to be able to make sure they're structured properly, to be able to make sure that there aren't bad actors getting into place that have ill intent, that want to either do people harm or extort people or hide the facts or move things around, like all this stuff that people and governments have gotten away with. We don't want to see that. That's not in our vision. So that's what I feel our role is in all this. And I do feel like co-ownership and these equity models, purchasing through equity rather than debt or a mortgage is going to become more prevalent over time. And mostly just because of the sheer affordability. I mean, if you look at the affordability of a house, you look at the median home buyer from 30 to 40. I mean, you just look at who's able to do this. You need the support of more people. And the reason the co-ownership model works is because not only can you reduce the fees because you're in a system that you pay title insurance once, I don't need to ever pay title insurance ever again. I know what's on that property, and you can come in and out and transact within the LLC. Um, but also just because we're going to be sharing in the upside and the downside while generating a contractual yield and having a stable payment. So it makes the investor more secure, which makes them more profitable. But because that profit's not being taken out in all these fees in every which way and charged 10 times on the same transaction, you actually end up over time with a much more reasonable and lower cost of home ownership despite being more profitable. You've just cut out a lot of the needless things in the transaction.
How does Easy Dwell build long term relationships with the clients it serves?
Absolutely. I mean, every contract is a long-term relationship just on the nature of the contract. It's a 30-year, maybe a 40-year contract. Almost all of them are 30 years. Um, and so just I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, we're in touch with them and we service their payment every month. We reach out to them every month. We have avenues where they can reach out to people or they know who to contact for what. Like they don't really need to reach out to us unless they're having, difficulties getting their HOA key, or the person didn't understand what co-ownership was or that they were on the contract. So they needed us to step in and verify that this person, in fact, can have access to, the post office or the gym or whatever it is. We are working on, there are more things we can do. One of the things is to give people a portal that allows them to track their equity cleanly, and we can add more resources and we can give people more functionality and gamification on top of that over time. Those are things we're working on.
What are some of the most rewarding success stories that you've seen with clients since you've co-founded Easy Dwell?
One of the most rewarding success stories I've seen with clients. We have a whole wall of them on our website. We really do have a lot of stories. One of the ones I was touched by was, I mean, there was a lady, and it was just fun. I mean, it was all about trust, 100% about trust for them. They just did not believe it was possible, like, period. And then, they were like praying over it, and then and then it's just like yes, and then they called Dustin and they did it. And there's a testimony where they talk through that, but that to me was just a very powerful um, moment where they broke through this barrier internally of like, how can this thing be possible? There's so many scams out there. Like, why can't I just own a home? I have the money. Like, what's wrong with me, right? And then here it is. It's like so easy. Just sign the contract, send the money. It sounds like a scam. So that to me was a powerful one. But there's a ton of them. It's great. Like, we have young people who buy, like, we have all kinds of people who just like they get that home ownership. Like, we're okay, like maybe you're sharing in the ups and downs. Maybe this is more expensive than a mortgage. Maybe I'm paying more for this, but I can afford it and I'm paying every single month and I'm going to own 100% of it. And I never have to go refinance or get a loan or go back to this other system. So like every payment, like I am a homeowner and I'm locked into this, that feels really good to people. And I think that comes across if you check out our testimonials.
How do you balance making the process simple while still making sure the clients are fully have a full understanding of the business model.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult. So, I mean, I think over disclosure and taking your time with people and making sure that they really, really understand, and having that level, that attention to detail and that personal connection is key. Like, they like we probably have maybe maybe 20 hours of conversations with somebody. I mean, to the point where we're working on ways and systems to be able to slow it down so we can scale, which will look like more educational videos and disclosures. But right now, it's just like taking your time, walking them through it, showing them the decks and the explanations, which is like the marketing stuff. But then they have to be able to see the contract and to be able to go in and see what's marketing and what's real. Like, right? They should add up. Those should be the same when you check into it.
From working with all these different clients, what have you seen, any consistencies in terms of their financial goals and aspirations?
Interesting question. Consistencies in their financial goals and aspirations. Yeah. So obviously, I mean, everyone just has this desire to create community, to create family. A lot of our buyers are, in the demographic of late 30s to early 50s, I would say. There's some that are older, some that are younger. But everyone, for the most part, I think has a strong love of family. I think for the most part, people have a strong love of country. I think people genuinely want to do better for themselves and for their community. And that's what it's all about, is just owning the land and having your stake in it. So it's how America was built. It's how America should be, and it should be forevermore. And as long as you can buy equity in your land and you can make your stake and you can do that, then I think, we'll have, good communities. So I think in general, people share that, and that desire to grow, and be prosperous.
If someone's considering different different paths to home ownership, what are some of the factors they should look at when evaluating their options?
Whether so, I would say it might depend. Are you a homeowner today? Um, what's your situation? I might want to know, where they're at financially, or what kind of things they're taking on. Home ownership is a big step, and it's expensive, and it means that you have to take care of everything, and it means that you got to fix everything. And if you're renting, it means when the light breaks, you got to fix the light. So I think for a lot of people, they understand it's a financial milestone in terms of it can be expensive, but for the most part, what it comes down to, I think, is responsibility and ownership. I mean, we still got to pay the taxes on the land, which we'll see in Florida. Maybe I don't think they'll ever take it away for entirely, but at least you own your house. So I would want to make sure that you've like really thought through all those trade-offs and you're confident. Like, if you can afford your rent plus double, it's gonna be double in just BS that comes up. I mean, think about it. You gotta deal with crap. So I would say very, very seriously, like, are you gonna be there for a long time? Is this something you're gonna hold on to? If you were buying a home today, whether you're buying it through a bank or you're buying it through anything, I would say if you're buying it, I would be prepared to hold on to it for, at least 5 to 10 years, right? You shouldn't be looking at buying a home with a mindset of, unless you're a fix and flipper, which many have not done well with the rate environment. But unless you're looking in, and you're gonna flip it, if you're looking for a personal home, I would want to hold on to that, and I would say buy it like you're buying anything. I'd buy it to hold and hold it for the long term. Um, and if you don't think you can do that or stretch that, I would try to consolidate. keep your costs low and just build up your cash, build up your business, build up whatever you're doing before you make that transition.
What are you most excited about with Easy Dwell over the next 5 years as it continues to grow?
Dude, that's a great question. I'm super excited to see just to go to having, thousands of families. And I think once you start having thousands of, even just to 1,000 families, I mean, the next 5 years, I'd like to hit, 10,000, 100,000 families, right? That's going to come with the right partners, and it's going to rest on our ability, to do this thing the right way. We're going to make sure we do it the right way. But I would say, yeah, just building out that ecosystem, because that's when you really now you have really true gamification as well of home ownership, and you can gamify it without making it like gambling or any of these websites that just run ads and then you spend your money on them and then they fund videos to go give money away and then that gets you to invest, like, gamble more money. Like, you can actually make it useful um, to the homeowner. So I think getting to economy of scale is just going to bring a lot of things um, that our system fundamentally is like set up to handle, that other people are working on or exist in the broader corporate landscape, that we're going to be able to tie into and be able to give our homeowners even more value than what they're paying for.
If you could give one piece of advice to aspiring homeowners, what would it be?
One piece of advice to aspiring homeowners, I would say that just hey, there's like just like you guys are taking care of your families and putting your best foot forward. There's people out there that are working on making homeownership accessible and attainable to all, and we're working with the conditions that we have. Right, investors need expect something, and the markets expect something else, and buyers expect something else. So I think over time, with economy of scale, if you're not able to afford a house now, just keep working on it. Keep building up your stuff. Keep building up your bank. Keep building life and resources for your family and your friends and for yourself. But I think as we grow and scale, over time, it'll become more accessible to a broader audience.